Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, dear listeners, and welcome to today's TSF1 Greece podcast for the Bahrain GP of 2023. Today, I have my fellow co-hosts Panos Dimas and Dimitris. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, Alex.
So today we will be discussing everything that we saw or that happened and at least was worthy mentioning in the Bahrain GP. First of all, though, as we do in our Greek podcast, Panos will start with his own highlights of the quali and the free practices, and then we will move on to the race.
So we didn't have much to discuss for the free practice and the quali, apart from Fernando Alonso coming back, showing that Aston Martin has the pace. And we also had a Red Bull showing that for the third time in a row they still have the pace, they still have the car, they still have the team to try to take the third championship in a row. So we have for the free FP1 top 3, we have Sergio Perez in first place with 1:32.758. Second place Fernando Alonso, and third place Max Verstappen. FP2 we have Fernando Alonso in first place with 1:30.907. Second Max Verstappen, and third Sergio Perez. And now we go to Saturday with FP3. We have Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Then we move on to quali. Out of Q1 we have Logan Sargent, Kevin Magnussen, Oscar Piastri, Nick De Vries and Pierre Gasly. Then we go out of Q2. We have Lando Norris in 11th, Valtteri Bottas, Zhou Guanyu, Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon. And our top 10 qualifiers are Max Verstappen pole position, Sergio Perez second place, Charles Leclerc third place, fourth Carlos Sainz, fifth Alonso, sixth Russell, seventh Hamilton, eighth Stroll. After the bicycle accident, Stroll has recovered and shown that he also has some pace in the Aston Martin. Ninth Esteban Ocon and 10th Nico Hülkenberg. That's it for the free practice and quali. Alex, the deck is yours.
So we can go back to the race, and I think there is plenty to discuss with bigger and more important notes and some other that are less significant but still significant. So starting with Red Bull. I mean, they make a great start. They take the first line on the beginning of the grid and they finish 1-2. Everything is great. So they are again on their championship pace. Max really just cruised around Bahrain. I mean, okay, he tried a bit at the beginning and then he just took almost in no time in a few laps. So in 10 laps, maybe 12 laps, he had a 10-second advantage over everyone else. And then it was just a matter of managing your tires, don't push the car without any reason harder than you should. It was basically just a normal race for him as it's been last season. Then
just a Sunday drive.
Yes, a leisurely Sunday drive. Then Sergio Perez, I mean, he had to battle to get to where he finished, but I don't think that he had to really try that hard. I mean, he finished 11 seconds behind Max, but still his advantage over Alonso and Sainz was half a minute almost. So
Come on, he has the best car in the grid.
Okay, yes, so the Mercedes fanboy is still hurting, but we will get to that. As we go down the grid, we use the race results more or less to discuss the whole race. So, Fernando Alonso, I mean, the man made his absolute comeback. I'm cheering for him for this season as a driver, despite cheering for Ferrari as a team. Dimitri, you can really just, I know you have to swallow your pride that the second team that's using your engine has got a better car than you and still gives you a run for the money, at least the first race, but it kind of looks that it is going to be that way this season.
It's the first race.
Okay, it's the first race. Let's see. I think 7 or 8 races down the line we will have a safe...
It's only the first 7 or 8 races.
Yes.
Okay, Dimitri.
Okay. So, then, Carlos Sainz for Ferrari. I mean, the poor guy tries his best, but...
The car can't handle it.
Yes. I mean, let's start with the most important one, for the Tifosis. Last year, Max had a DNF in Bahrain and he got the championship. This year, Leclerc has a DNF and we won't be getting a championship, I think. I mean, you swap a power unit before even the first race is over. Some could say, I mean, I'm gonna really piss off Italians now. I mean, it's Ferrari doing Ferrari things. Maybe down the line, it is like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Then, we have got the one and only Lewis Hamilton for Mercedes. I mean, the guys try. But this season, the car is not looking that strong yet. I mean, the first outing was not their best, but if we judge from what they did last season, which, I mean, when they started was absolutely dreadful, they finished 3rd. So if the whole Mercedes magic starts again, I think Ferrari and Aston Martin will really have to sweat for their places. But we are here to see. Lance Stroll, I mean, the guy is... I mean, he deserves a mentioning.
For what? For crashing Alonso?
First of all, you crash into your own teammate. Like, what the heck?
And Alonso comes on team radio and asks, who crashed me? We have to investigate. And they're like, okay, Alonso, relax.
Focus on the race. Focus on the race.
Yes. We will discuss this after the race. Like,
if he knew it was Stroll, I mean, the guy would brake check him so hard, I'm sure. He would do something. Definitely, he would have done
he's
something.
Alonso.
Yeah. So,
just Ferrari things.
Moving down. Esteban Ocon for Alpine. I mean, the guy is the penalty collector of the day. He just kept gathering seconds like there's no tomorrow. Like, I mean, he didn't want to participate in the race. So he's like, yeah, okay, I will do that. It's 5 seconds. Okay, let's do it again. Another 5 seconds. Let's do that. 10 seconds. Okay. And as we continue down the line, we have Lance Stroll and George Russell. I mean, it's the same thing. Aston Martin showed a better pace than Mercedes in Bahrain, so these two, it was more or less expected that it would end like this. And then we go towards the midfield. Bottas did a great first outing for Alfa Romeo. I mean, he looked strong, not Mercedes and Aston strong, but strong for the Alfa Romeo team. I mean, he's basically the guy carrying the team on his shoulders, same as Pierre Gasly on this race for Alpine Renault and Alexander Albon for Williams Mercedes, which I have to say, I mean, Albon did a pretty good outing for Williams. For what they have and what they bring to the table, I think the guy did a good job. Then
scored the first point of the year.
Yes.
For Williams.
Then we have a team that didn't shine that much at this race. Yuki Tsunoda did his best for AlphaTauri. Logan Sargent also tried and went pretty well with Williams. I mean, 12th place on your first Grand Prix and with a team that's, well, a lower tire team. It's good. I mean, he beat both of the Haas cars and one AlphaTauri. So Kevin Magnussen was behind him. Nick De Vries was the second AlphaTauri that was between the two Haas. And then we have Nico Hülkenberg down the line. Zhou had just a bad day. I mean, he really tried, but it didn't work out for him, so the second Alfa Romeo is basically second to last. And then finally we have, I think, the most disappointed team of them all, McLaren Mercedes. I mean, Norris, the guy tried everything, but it just never worked out. He kept losing places and losing place after place. Then, captain time penalty, Esteban Ocon just did not finish. It was a DNF because, I mean, why keep racing? Piastri had a problem and with McLaren also did not finish. And then finally, Mr. Reliability, Charles Leclerc with Ferrari.
2 power units in one weekend.
I mean, come on. So the principal came out and said that they really have to focus on the reliability and maintenance part, basically the reliability of the car. And I think he has
and
got
the tire wear. This year is worse than it was last year.
Yes.
The tire wear on this car with the aerodynamics that doesn't
aero
require.
Works, but it just destroys tires like there's no tomorrow. I mean, it's unbelievable.
If it works only for 5 laps,
yeah, then
why would we bother?
Yeah, so I guess then what's the point? I think the takeaways from this Grand Prix are the following. Will we see a Red Bull that will just, especially Max Verstappen, that will just do the Sunday drive and have another championship?
One. Yes.
Probably. Will we have a Fernando Alonso that's fighting directly with Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull and everyone else on the top? Definitely. Which is great. I mean, a big comeback for a name that has been lost somewhere in the middle and lower tier teams in the past few years. Now, Ferrari and Mercedes, I think these two will, like last year, be the main contenders together with Aston Martin this time around for the 3rd, 4th and 5th place in the Constructor Championship. Looking further down, I think Alfa Romeo will be the strongest of the lower tier teams, so Alpine and will definitely be below here. It will be interesting to see what Haas, Williams and Alpha Tauri and as well as McLaren does down the line. But I think more or less the main focus will be between Aston Martin, Ferrari and Mercedes. These 6 drivers will basically be the whole show. Now, about Red Bull, if they just do the usual leisure drive like Hamilton used to do in the past few years before Red Bull and Max, then I mean we will just focus on the rest because there's nothing interesting. We will be like, yeah, he won, he took those points and that's it. Moving on. Exactly. I think we can go to the driver standings if you wanna add something, comment or something.
No comments needed. I think. No
comments needed. Great. That means that I covered everything.
Okay.
Exactly. We are trying to find our Greek selves in the English podcasts as well, so I think in 5 or 6 podcasts it will be a bit different. In a good way, I think.
Or not.
Let's let time surprise us. So, the driver standing from top to bottom. Verstappen has got 25 points, Perez 18, Alonso 15, Sainz 12 and Hamilton 10 for the first 5 drivers. Between places 6 and 10 we have got Stroll with 8, Russell with 6, Bottas with 4, Gasly with 2 and Albon scoring the last 1 point. From places 11 down we have Tsunoda, Sargent, Magnussen, De Vries, Hülkenberg, Guazou and Norris with 0, plus the drivers Piastri, Ocon and Leclerc, which also didn't score any points obviously. I mean, for Leclerc it's a great start to the season, right? We won the driver championship, let's DNF. Great. The broken heart of a tifosi Panos, right? Now, in the Constructor Championship, Red Bull Racing has got 43 points, Aston Martin has got 23, Mercedes 16, Ferrari 12, that hurts. Alfa Romeo has got 4, Alpine has got 2, and Williams has got 1. Alfa Tauri, Haas and McLaren have scored 0 so far. I was really expecting though Dimitris to give like a salty comment for Leclerc or something, but he didn't.
He can't. He's a Mercedes fan.
Yes, that's why I was expecting like a salty comment, like something. I don't know. Something. Next time. Okay. He's gathering his English thoughts. So the broken dreams of a Mercedes fan whose team just got walked this time from Aston Martin. I mean, we provide you the engine and you win. Great. That's a great marketing slogan, by the way, if someone from Mercedes is listening. No, okay. I mean, let's go back to being a bit more serious. So, the next Grand Prix will be on the weekend of the 17th to the 19th of March, so in 2 weeks' time. It will be the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix taking place at the Jeddah Corniche circuit. The circuit had its first Grand Prix during 2021. There will be 50 laps. The circuit length is 6,174 meters. I really have to start calculating that in advance in miles for the next podcast. The race distance covered will be 308.45 kilometers, and the lap record is currently held by Sir Lewis Hamilton during the 2021 Grand Prix at 1 minute 30 seconds .734. Gentlemen, I think more or less that was everything that we want to say for the Bahrain GP. We would really like to have, if someone accidentally listens to that is Greek, we would also like to say that for the following Grand Prix of the season we will be streaming and live commenting on Greek. So if you're interested, please check out on Facebook and Instagram TopSpeed.gr for the links, and we will do our best to have that ready for the next Grand Prix. For our English speaking fans, I think, well, you are lucky enough to have F1 TV Pro in your language like we use to see the race, because currently the Greek television is, well, interesting with its ads all the time and at the best times and the best battles during the race. So I think we cannot really try anything in English. I mean, we will get walked by literally everyone. So we're sticking to Greek. Gentlemen, Panos and Dimitris, thank you very much for being today amongst us. Dear listeners, we would like to have you back on the next podcast. Hopefully we have a race that's a bit more interesting with more battles and more up and downs. The first race is always like a tricky little so-and-so, but we shall see how the season progresses. From us and from the whole TSF1 Greece podcast team, we would like to wish you a great day or evening, depending on the time you're listening to us. And please let us know who you think is going to win this year's championship, which team do you think might make the biggest surprise, or which driver. Till the next one, have a great day. Bye.